Okay, ready to dive into something pretty wild. We're talking digital twins.
Digital
Yeah,
twins.
I know. It's like straight out of sci-fi. Like you got a virtual version of something in the real world.
Ah, got it. Yeah.
But the thing is, this isn't just some futuristic fantasy anymore. It's like, it's real tech.
Yeah.
And it's happening now, like all around us.
Yeah.
And so you brought this excerpt from Digital Twins and Artificial Intelligence,
Yeah.
Transforming the Future.
Right. Right.
So we're going to kind of like unpack that together.
Yeah.
This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's really kind of mind-bending when you think about it, because we're basically creating like a dynamic data-powered mirror image of things, of real-world things.
Yeah, and this excerpt like really highlights how these digital twins are like popping up everywhere.
Yeah, that's
Like we're talking healthcare, cities,
Yeah.
energy, like it's crazy.
That's just it.
Who knows, maybe this tech is already like impacting your life in ways you haven't even realized.
Yeah, it's quite possible. I mean, the applications are incredibly broad.
Right.
But let's start with maybe a basic definition.
Okay, yeah, great.
Like, what is a digital twin, really?
Okay, so like I get that it's not just some like fancy 3D model, right?
Right.
But what actually makes it different?
Like, so imagine this. You have a 3D model of a heart. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's not just static. It's constantly being fed real-time data. So think blood pressure, heart rate, even information from an EKG. So it's like the model is alive, mirroring the real heart's every beat.
Okay, so it's like a constant feedback loop between the real and the virtual.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The excerpt mentioned doctors using a digital twin of a heart to simulate treatments.
Yes.
That seems incredibly useful.
It is. I mean, absolutely. Imagine being able to see how a heart would react to a medication before prescribing it.
Yeah.
Or even more impactful, simulating a complex surgery on the digital twin to find the safest and most effective approach.
Yeah.
We're talking about potentially reducing risks, personalizing treatment plans, and even avoiding unnecessary procedures.
That's amazing.
It is. It's powerful stuff.
It's like having a practice run for real-life medicine.
Yeah.
Like with potentially life-saving implications.
Yeah, exactly.
But, the source also, like, made a point of emphasizing AI.
Right.
And it's not just like an add-on.
Right. It's fundamental. It's really what gives these digital twins the ability to truly learn and adapt. Think of it like this. The digital twin is the body, and AI is the brain.
So how does that brain power actually work? Like, what is the AI doing with all that data?
It's analyzing patterns, looking for anomalies, making predictions. For example, with that heart twin, AI could sift through, mountains of data and detect subtle warning signs of a heart attack.
Yeah.
Even signs that a human doctor might miss.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. The excerpt also talked about, or used the example of Tesla using digital twins for their cars.
Right, right.
And they're not just predicting maintenance needs, but also using the data to improve their self-driving algorithms.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and that's just scratching the surface,
Right, right.
I mean, we're seeing AI-powered digital twins popping up in so many areas.
Like what?
Okay, so think about smart cities.
Okay, yeah.
Imagine a digital twin of an entire city, tracking traffic flow in real time. AI could analyze that data and, dynamically adjust traffic lights to ease congestion and reduce commute times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it's like having a city that's constantly like optimizing itself.
Yes.
Almost like a living organism.
Exactly.
That's fascinating.
It is, and it doesn't stop there. The excerpt also talked about using digital twins in renewable energy.
Oh, yeah. I remember reading about that. Like something about maximizing solar and wind power.
Exactly, yeah. So AI can analyze weather data and predict the best angles for solar panels or the optimal speed for wind turbines, really squeezing every bit of efficiency out of these renewable sources.
So we're talking about making green energy more reliable and hopefully like cheaper too.
Yeah.
Which could have a huge impact, on the fight against climate change.
Precisely. And then there's the potential in healthcare, which we already touched on.
Right.
But it goes beyond, just simulating treatments.
Yeah, the excerpt mentioned personalized medicine.
Yeah.
Like, fill me in on that a little bit.
So imagine creating a digital twin of your entire body.
Okay.
Doctors could use it to simulate how your unique physiology would react to different drugs, diets, even lifestyle changes.
So it's like having like a virtual you
Yeah.
to experiment on, like without any of the real world risks.
Exactly.
That could like revolutionize healthcare as we know it.
It's true. It's really powerful stuff.
But I'm guessing it's like not all sunshine and roses.
Right.
Right. Like the excerpt did mention some challenges.
Of course, of course. There are hurdles to overcome.
Yeah.
One of the biggest is data management.
Yeah.
We're talking about enormous amounts of data being generated and analyzed constantly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Like storing and securing all that information, like that's got to be a logistical nightmare.
It is. It is.
What else is kind of holding this tech back?
Well, there's the initial cost of implementing these systems. The technology is still relatively new and can be quite expensive, which limits its accessibility.
So it's like any new technology, like there are going to be growing pains.
Yeah.
But the source did mention some potential game changers on the horizon, right?
They did. They highlighted quantum computing and 5G as major factors that could unlock even more potential for digital twins in the future.
Okay. That's pretty exciting.
Uh-huh.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here. But I think it's clear that this digital twin thing is like more than just a fad.
Yeah.
This is a real force to be reckoned with.
It is. It's absolutely. And it's only going to become more prevalent in our lives as the technology continues to advance.
So where do we go from here? What's the next step in this deep dive?
Well, let's shift gears a bit and explore the potential downsides of this technology.
Okay.
Because, with great power comes great responsibility, right?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Sounds like we're about to enter some ethically murky waters.
Yeah.
Let's dive in. Okay, so we've like been gushing over all these amazing possibilities of digital twins. But like you said, there's another side to this coin, right?
Right.
What are some of the kind of downsides we should be aware of?
Well, let's start with the sheer volume of data these things rely on, right? I mean, imagine a digital twin of a city constantly collecting information from traffic cameras, sensors, even people's smartphones.
Yeah.
It's a data privacy minefield.
Yeah, you're right. That's a lot of sensitive information like floating around out there.
It is.
What kind of risks are we like really talking about here? Man,
Uh,
it's got to be more than just like hackers trying to, steal data, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I
Uh-huh.
mean, even with the best security measures in place, there's always the question of, who has access to this data
Right.
and how it's being used.
Yeah.
So imagine like insurance companies demanding access to your digital twin data
Uh-huh.
to calculate your premiums, or employers using it to make hiring decisions based on your like predicted health risks.
Right.
It's a very slippery slope.
Yeah. It's kind of giving me like a Big Brother vibe a little bit,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
The potential for misuse seems like pretty high.
Yeah, it's a valid concern. And it goes beyond individual privacy too, right?
Right.
I mean, think about a digital twin of a city being used to like predict crime hotspots.
Okay, yeah.
If the data it's using reflects, existing biases in policing, it could end up, reinforcing those biases,
Right.
and further marginalizing certain communities.
So it's not just about like protecting the data, but also making sure the technology itself isn't like perpetuating these harmful biases.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is like that's a tough challenge.
It is a tough challenge. And then, there's the economic side of things too, right?
Yeah.
As digital twins become more sophisticated, they could automate tasks that are currently done by humans.
Right.
So we need to think about the potential impact on jobs, on the workforce.
Yeah. The source mentioned job displacement as a potential
Yeah.
concern.
Right.
It's hard not to imagine certain jobs becoming like obsolete.
Yeah, it's a valid concern, but it's not necessarily a doomsday scenario, right?
Okay.
I mean, some experts argue that while some jobs may be lost, new ones will be created, right?
Right.
Think about the people who design, who build, who maintain these digital twin systems. Right. I mean, those are jobs that didn't exist a few years ago.
Right. So it's more of a shift in the job market rather than a
Yeah.
complete, takeover by robots or
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly. Yeah. And there's also the potential for, humans and machines to work together. I mean, imagine a doctor using a digital twin to get insights and recommendations, allowing them to, make better decisions, provide
Right.
more personalized care.
Yeah.
It's not about replacing humans. It's about, augmenting their capabilities.
Okay, yeah, that's a more optimistic way of like
Yeah.
looking at it.
Right.
So while there are definitely like challenges and risks, involved,
Yeah.
it seems like there's also like a huge potential for positive change.
Absolutely, yeah. But the key is to be aware of these challenges
Yeah.
and to approach this technology with a critical eye, you know?
Right.
We need to have open and honest conversations about the ethical implications, about the potential for misuse, and the impact on, society as a whole.
Right. It sounds like a lot of responsibility rests on the shoulders of the people who are developing and implementing this technology.
It does. It does. And it's not just up to them, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we all have a role to play in shaping the future of digital twins.
Right.
We need to stay informed. We need to ask questions. We need to demand transparency.
For all the downsides we've just discussed, I can't help but feel like this technology still has the potential to do a lot of good in the world.
I agree. I agree. It's a powerful tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or for evil.
Yeah.
It all comes down to the choices we make.
Right. So what's the next step? Where do we go from here?
Okay, so let's shift gears again and
Okay.
look ahead.
Right.
What does the future hold for digital twins?
Yeah.
What might the world look like in, say, 10 years?
Now, that's a question that really gets my imagination going.
Yeah.
I'm ready to put on my futurist hat.
Yes.
Let's do it. Okay, so time to gaze into that crystal ball.
Yeah.
Right? What do you think the future holds for digital twins?
Well, if the past few years are any indication, I think we can expect things to move pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I think we'll see digital twins becoming, even more sophisticated,
Right.
more integrated into our lives.
Okay, so give me some specifics.
Sure.
What kind of advancements are we talking about?
Okay, so for starters, imagine digital twins that are almost indistinguishable from the real thing.
Oh, wow.
So advances in 3D modeling, sensor technology, they could create incredibly realistic virtual representations.
Right.
Picture a digital twin of a city that's so detailed you can see individual leaves rustling on trees.
Wow.
Or raindrops splashing on the pavement.
That's next level.
Yeah.
But what about the AI side of things? How will that evolve?
Well, AI will continue to be, the brains behind these digital twins, right?
Right.
Enabling them to analyze data, make predictions, and even learn and adapt on their own.
Yeah.
I mean, we might even see the emergence of digital twins that can, make decisions and take actions autonomously.
So we're talking about digital twins that can think for themselves.
Yeah.
That's both exciting but also a little bit unsettling at the same time.
It is, yeah, it is. And that's why, it's so crucial to have these conversations about the ethical implications, right?
Right.
I mean, as digital twins become more powerful, we need to make sure they're aligned with our values and goals as a society.
That's a good point. We've talked a lot about the potential for misuse and things like that.
Right.
But let's kind of flip the script for a second, right?
Okay.
What are some of the most optimistic scenarios for the future of digital twins?
So imagine a world where we can use digital twins to model and solve some of humanity's biggest challenges. So think about using a digital twin of the Earth to study climate change and develop solutions to mitigate its effects.
Right.
Or using digital twins of, human organs to accelerate drug discovery and personalized medicine.
Yeah, those are some pretty inspiring possibilities.
They are.
It sounds like digital twins could be a really powerful tool for good.
Yeah, they certainly have the potential. But as with any technology,
Right.
it's ultimately up to us as humans to decide how we use it.
Right.
We need to be mindful of the risks, but also embrace, the opportunities to create a better future.
Yeah, that's a great takeaway. So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive here,
Yeah.
what's the one message you want to leave our listeners with?
I would say, digital twins are not just some futuristic fantasy. They're here. They're evolving rapidly.
And they're going to have a profound impact on our lives.
Yeah. So stay curious, stay informed, and keep asking questions.
Right.
The future of digital twins is being written right now.
Yeah.
And we all have a role to play in shaping it.
Well said. Well said. And on that note, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of digital twins and AI. It's been a fascinating journey, and I have a feeling this is just the beginning of the story.